Welcome back to another episode of Trash Talk Podcast. We got some interesting questions to debate today. We got a little bit of a quiz for me later that JJ set up. But first of all, let me quickly remind you that we have a Discord server. So if you maybe a regular viewer, maybe do some Hearthstone stuff, maybe you're a beginner, maybe want to talk to the community, talk to us, just talk some trash and get some help. It's always a fun time in there. So go join the TrashcanTV Discord server. Link to that is in the description. Free for everyone. You're welcome to join it if you want to. Also, we ask you to leave a like on the video if you liked it. But let's get right into it without further ado. What are we doing first, JJ?
Well, this is something that I've just randomly encountered on the internet. I thought it would be really interesting to discuss. It's called the stag trolley problem. And some of you might be familiar with the trolley problem.
We've discussed it before.
If not, watch one of the few times that we've discussed this before. I think we've had one fully dedicated...
The most recent one was the best one.
Topic to it. I think we might have done a topic twice, actually. We've mentioned it on the side before. The normal trolley problem is very simple. It's just like, there's a train coming, there's a fork in the track, there's 5 people standing on the tracks, and on the other track that it forks off to, there's only one person. Yeah. The lever is set to go hit the 5 people. Do you switch the lever? Correct. Yes or no? Saving effectively 4 people in the process, but killing one specific person that would not have otherwise died.
So my answer to that, do you have an opinion on that? Do you have a strict position on that now at this point?
The problem is, my gut feeling says you should flip the lever, but I also see that logic taken to the extreme doesn't work from your explanation.
Exactly. So for me, you don't flip the lever because you would not accept active interference to call upon human sacrifice in order to save others' lives. Like, for example, if it were for you to, against your will, be slaughtered and have all your organs harvested to save 5 sick people's lives, you would not accept that morally, so you wouldn't be able to remain logically consistent in flipping the lever. And now we have the stag trolley problem. And in this case, we basically have the situation times 2. And we have 2 people on 2 levers, 2 forks, 2 trains, and actually 4 tracks with 2 of them have 5 people on it, 2 of them have 1 person on it. And the situation is the following, right? If both people were to pull the lever, then the trains crash into each other.
Note that the trains are empty and contain no passengers, so...
No one dies.
The only casualties that we're concerned with are the people on the rails.
Yes, no one dies. If 1 person pulls the lever, 6 people die, because their train will run over 4, the other person's train will run over 1. And if 2 people pull the lever, 2 people die.
No, if 2 people pull the lever, they crash. That's the
right, or if no one pulls the lever,
if no one pulls the lever, then 2 people die.
Correct. So what is the correct answer here? And to me, I will take the same approach until unless I see a problem in that or presented with one that would somewhat differentiate the situation. I cannot communicate with the other person on the other lever.
That is of course obviously part of the conditions that were set for the experiment. Yes. Otherwise, it's kind of pointless.
I don't know what he's gonna do. I cannot let his behavior influence me because I don't know about it. Thereby, to me, it becomes the regular trolley problem, and I do not flip the lever.
Because if you were able to discuss it, then it would obviously be easy. You both pull the lever.
Correct.
Because there's no question there then. Because no one dies.
Yeah.
I mean, damage to the trains, probably expensive, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
this is about valuing human life.
I do not interfere, so that's my answer to that.
So I think this is... Even for people that have the base assumption that if you don't go to the logical extreme, that have the base assumption of like, in the regular trolley problem, you should flip the switch. This does, even for those people, it doesn't have a clear answer.
Okay. Yeah.
For your stance, that logic still applies. Although flipping the switch has a chance that no one dies. But the problem is it's just that.
Yeah.
Now, I would almost like to approach this as a math problem, but that of course is, if you approach it as a math problem, then the first one you flip the lever, the regular trolley problem, obviously. This one, then...
Well, if you flip the lever, in this case, you're not killing less people but more, right? If you don't flip them, you're killing 1. Speaking from your side. If you flip it, you're killing 5. Unless the other person also flips.
Which is why, if you posing as a mathematical problem, the one variable that you don't know is whether or not the other person flips the switch. You would have to describe that as a certain percentage chance.
Assuming it's 50%.
Yeah, that's of course a good assumption.
Then you don't want to flip your lever.
Then if you don't flip the lever, then there is 50% chance that 2 people die and 50% chance that 6 people die.
So on average, 4 people will die.
Averaging 4 people, exactly.
If you ever do pull the lever, you got a chance of 0 dying.
Yes, which is 50%.
Or you got a chance of 6 people dying.
Which is also 50% according to our assumption, which means that on average 3 people die, which means you should pull the lever, mathematically speaking, if that is 50-50. Now the question is, and I think the correct answer is actually to not pull the lever here.
Same.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
The line of reasoning is similar to the regular trolley problem, in that most people don't want to mess with the situation.
Yeah. And I think in this case, even more the emotional appeal is that because they don't know about the other person, that they won't actively endanger more lives.
Yeah.
For sure.
And
even more so than in the regular.
Even in the regular trolley problem, you would assume about 80% of people do not pull the lever.
Mm-hmm.
If you assume 80 people don't pull the lever, you're basically playing with, if you pull the lever, an 80% chance that 6 people die, and a 20% chance that 0 people die. Yeah. Which effectively means that, what did I say, 6 people? So it's 4.8 people on average that die. If you don't pull the lever, then that means that there's a 80% chance that 2 people die, and a 20% chance that 6 people die, which is 1.2 plus 1.6, which is 2.8, which is significantly less. Yeah. On average, 2 people less die. And that is still assuming a very moderate 80%. As you said, because the choice is more complex, they're even less likely to flip the lever. Although, now comes the other question. I think we've kind of thoroughly answered why you should go one way or the other. But still, there's one unknown variable that we try to approximate here. Do you think the upside, the high roll basically, of being able to save everyone would persuade people to more likely pull the lever? Or
no?
Because we've discussed these types of problems before, like, what do you think other people will choose?
Most definitely not.
Because people play the lottery.
People do play the lottery. But not with human lives, and especially not with the chance of being held liable for killing 5 people.
That is definitely also, like, the liability is definitely an aspect here, because I know, and not directly on topic, but I know that in games, for example, you oftentimes have people make a lot of high-risk plays because there could be a high reward, and, you know, if it fails, then, well, but there's also, like, don't want to go into this again, but the lottery, on average, you lose a lot of money.
Yes.
The more you play, the more you lose, and that's a fact.
Correct.
Very few people win small amounts of money.
Even less people win a lot.
Yeah, and if you want to replicate that success, you would have to buy so many tickets that it's not worth it anymore.
Correct.
So, still people do it, and most people even knowingly do it.
Yeah, but they're gambling with their own money anyway, right? In this case, they gamble with other people's lives.
I guess the difference is, well, that of course, but also that the loss of a lottery ticket in the moment, of course, all that you buy over your lifetime combined is probably still a lot of money, but one lottery ticket right now is not that expensive.
Not a big of a problem.
And 5 human lives right now is a bit of a bigger gamble. And the win of a lottery ticket is like millions and millions of times of what you put in, while here you're effectively risking 5 people to potentially save 2?
Yeah. No.
1, I guess, effectively more likely?
I don't think... I think barely anyone in this situation would pull the lever. Because they can't... Because the other person is essentially... It's an uncertain variable, so all that they can really control is, do I let 5 people die or 1 person, and then they won't pull the lever. But first of all, because they don't want to be involved, and of course it's less people.
I don't think that the do I want to let 1 or 5 people die is the correct thought process here.
No, it's not the correct process. It's not the correct thought process, but it's the correct thought process it's a thought process a lot of people have. I think in the trolley problem, like the actual one, under experiments, we saw about 80 people 80% not interfering, right?
Yeah,
I think in this case, the number
I was just ballparking that, but I think that was about it.
I think in this case, if that's the case, in this example, the number will be closer to 95%. At least, actually.
Of course, also, this is even more obviously a hypothetical question because, like, try simulating this and making it very clear what will happen.
Obviously not possible.
So that's problematic. You could, if you were to question people on it, it's always problematic because we've seen how skewed the statistics for the trolley problem are.
Exactly.
I guess the one question that we haven't covered yet, and since the topic has basically just started, would be, is there a way we can alter this problem to make it more interesting or more split?
Well, more split. Obviously, if communication was possible, the answer would be obvious.
Yeah.
Everyone pulls the lever all the time.
It's also less interesting because it's once again obvious.
Yeah. Change it. Change the 5 and the 1. You don't interfere, 5 die. Like the regular trolley problem.
Yeah.
And you do interfere, 1 dies. Now you just need to overcome the hurdle of the actual trolley problem with the upside of potentially saving everyone if the other person does so as well.
But that effectively makes it... I mean, that just makes it a more complicated version of the regular trolley problem.
Yeah, but it's more balanced, right?
Yeah, but where...
There's more upside.
Where it's even more incentivized to pull it, which of course means that it would end up... Yeah, it might end up the actual decision being more balanced. But also the thought process, once again, is simpler, which is not necessarily making the problem more interesting. Although, that brings up the question, if it was that way, would your rule of no interference still be the case?
Yes. If there was a million people on one track and 1 on the other, I would still not interfere to divert the train from the million to 1. That argument holds.
At that point, you might have to assume that a lot more people on the other side would be likely more willing to pull the lever, which means there is a decent chance of not hurting anyone, which at that point wouldn't break your logic anymore.
But I don't know it. I don't know what the other... If I knew that there was a train coming there, and if I pull, they'll collide and no one dies, then I'll do it. Or if I had that guaranteed. But as long as that's not a guarantee, I will not make the decision that leads to me actively deciding to sacrifice human life.
So you're saying as long as there is no 100% guarantee, you're not interfering, even though it would potentially not kill anyone.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's the case in this one as well, if both people were thinking that way.
Yeah, but in this one, we've established that there's virtually no chance that the other person's pulling the lever, which incentivizes you to not pull the lever, which skews the numbers even more for the people that think about it.
But since you can't rely on the other person, no. You do not sacrifice human life. I wouldn't be willing to be killed and have organs harvested if it saved 10,000 people. So, no, I would not flip the lever. I think that's a very simple answer to all those similar problems.
Yeah.
Logically consistent, I do not flip the lever. And that's really tough to argue against, I feel like.
The problem is, I feel like most people won't agree with your opinion.
I know most people won't agree on the actual trial.
Yeah, of course.
On what the right decision is, right? Until you then present them with the logical implications, at which point I have never had anyone that I talked to in person still disagree with me.
It's tough because that's also always a problem with these types of questions, because
of course
logical extremes always become problematic.
Yes, of course people don't really think that way, right? In that situation especially.
Yeah.
I can definitely see a lot of people who would, if or explained carefully, would understand why not pulling the lever is correct. But those people, without knowing that, in the situation, would instinctively pull the lever. Or at least say that they would.
Do you think that the people that would actually pull the lever, if you explain to them how the theoretical logical implication of that is, would then change their opinion to not...
Wait. Okay, so what scenario are we in?
Okay, so regular trolley problem.
Regular problem.
Because we've obviously
fine.
expanded this enough.
Regular problem.
Regular trolley problem. You take a person that, say, like, hypothetically, we've taken them into the chamber, had them done a test, had them forget that they did it. So just so that we know how they think, but they don't know about the trolley problem necessarily.
Yeah.
You explain to them why they shouldn't switch the lever.
Yeah.
We once again put them in a simulated situation without them knowing that they're being simulated. Yeah. Do you think that just because on a logical level they understand that because of taking it to extremes, you shouldn't pull the lever, that will change most people's opinion when in the situation, knowing the implication?
It wouldn't change for everyone, but I think there would be a certain amount of people who would change. Yes, after doing that with a group of people, there will be more people not pulling the lever. Okay, not all of them. A lot of because
of course, there's always going to be at least one person that's not going to change and one that's changed. I mean, roughly ballpark. Like, do you think most of the people will change? Do you think some of the
that very much depends on the type of people you have there too, because some people tend to operate logically, and some people tend to not operate logically, even though they would know, even though they know about the logical operation in other situations.
At this point, we are specifically talking. I mean, of course, it doesn't really describe the group necessarily, but it's a group of people that would pull the lever without the long explanation.
Yeah.
Then, given the explanation,
I think a considerable amount would then adhere to the explanation. Actually,
okay.
I think specifically because you just explained it to them, and then wonder they are in that situation.
Of course, we would have to. Theoretically, of course, the test should somehow magically not be giving away that it's a test.
Yeah, but it also depends on how they react to the explanation. If they really buy into it, if they really understand why they shouldn't pull the lever, and they're honest to themselves, you know what, that is correct. I was wrong before. I should not pull the lever. Like me, right? I thought for a while I should pull the lever. I should not.
I mean, that was my basic assumption, because you're effectively saving lives.
Exactly. So now, for example, for me, if I know we're in a situation, I would not pull the lever after getting explained or understanding why not. And people, depends on how they observe that, right? If people are willing to understand that or do understand it, are willing to change their opinion and grasp that, then I think a considerable amount of those people wouldn't pull the lever anymore, even though they previously did.
Because I think that's almost one of the most interesting aspects of this, because the very few people do actually pull the lever. Yeah. So those, I feel are the more interesting group to look at.
The one that do? Yeah.
Because the ones that already don't, you're not going to change their opinion with your explanation, and with the regular explanation, that's the people that'll check I would and then actually don't.
Yes.
Of course, it has to do with freezing in the situation and everything. Also, definitely, I think that after giving them the explanation, most people would probably have to think about it first.
You'd have to really make it clear to make sure they understand it.
But then it's put in a situation, they would for certain react slower, and maybe, it's of course a bit of an edge case here, but maybe some of them literally don't flip the switch because they don't have enough time to compute all the new information.
Maybe. Yeah.
Which, would then end up being the same result as their opinion.
I think, assuming that people perfectly, let's just assume that ignorance is not a factor. People because that's what we're talking about. So just decision making. Would people, even though they know it's logically the wrong decision, still instinctively make the decision to save more lives?
Because a lot of people make decisions that aren't logical, and oftentimes knowing that they aren't.
Because oftentimes the logical one isn't intuitive, like in this one, right?
Yes, but sometimes people know what the logical choice and they still...
Yeah, and that's exactly the case we're talking about. Which is why I think more people will make the logical choice, even more than before.
Yeah.
Even though most people, of course, who didn't pull a lever didn't do it because they were strictly logical. In the actual situation. I think there'll be a higher amount of people, but I still think there would be people who would still flip the switch.
Although I also do find it interesting that some people that didn't flip the switch basically argued with the same base assumption of not wanting to interfere without taking the implications into account. Yeah.
It's just, I don't want to interfere, of course, right?
And that once again seems like on its own, without explaining, like you've of course explained why, but just saying I don't want to interfere seems like a weak argument.
That's a bad argument, right? Because that you can take to a different instinct. There's a person drowning, you don't want to interfere, right? So you let him drown.
Yeah.
Of course, doesn't hold up. Human sacrifice is the key word that can't be argued with correctly. So that's, I mean, most people aren't even aware of that, like that connection there. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair,
we
both didn't have that.
I wasn't
idea when we first were confronted with it.
I wasn't for a while.
And again, we talked about this on the podcast too multiple times.
My opinion used to be that you have to you flip the switch and take responsibility for it. If people don't do it, it's because they don't want to take responsibility, because they don't want to be held accountable. But the correct one is to flip the switch, save the 4 people, the 5 people, and let the 1 person die, but make the decision to do so. That's not correct. That was my opinion was for a while, but I have changed that opinion. And I feel like a lot of people, when they really understand it, would do that too. So it would be considerable, but it would never be 100%.
Yeah,
there's always people who will operate.
Also, the disconnect between the logical extreme and the actual situation is always interesting because it doesn't feel the same, although with logical extrapolation it basically is.
I mean, that there might also be an outlier renegade somewhere who would actually be logically consistent in flipping the switch, right?
Right.
If they were okay with sacrificing a human to save other people's lives and other
arguably, as much as that's not the world I want to live in,
right?
That would almost be the more logical one, because you're trying to preserve human life overall.
Yes, but it's only it doesn't depend. The thing is, right? It only depends on your subjective logic, right? Your personal logic.
Yeah, and that's I think
that's what you make decisions.
I mean,
based
you do also, whenever morality comes up, like to say like the idea of like maximizing well-being,
because morality is subjective.
And I think that once again would almost support the idea of not pulling the lever, because
I think we kind of had this that the maximizing well-being is a higher level principle as opposed to the axiom of logical consistency, right?
Yeah, but if you do apply that, the idea of living in a world where you could be killed at any moment for the greater good, that's probably not play well with people's state of mind anyway, so that also can fuck with you, so that's not necessarily the best.
If my absolute deepest axiom is logical consistency, and I have an instance, for example, the Trolley Problem, where maximizing well-being will violate that, I would not maximize well-being there and remain logically consistent. I feel like that's kind of the answer there. But let us know your opinion on the let us know your opinion on the matter anyway. What would you do about the Trolley Problem, the stack Trolley Problem, and maybe if we changed anyone's mind, let us know in the comments. So I think that's enough for this topic.
Yeah.
Let's hit into the after episode. JJ, what have you prepared for this?
Well, so you are a lot into like the geography and politics kind of stuff.
Decently, yes.
And this is a very simple idea, and that we have a list of we don't have to necessarily go through all of them, but it's the like 20 most populated and largest countries. I believe it's 20.
You said by population,
and by area,
right? So let's do them individually, right?
Yes.
Can I do like what I should do first?
I don't care. You can start with whatever.
Okay, I'll go area first, right? So you want me to name the 20 biggest area countries. Right?
Yeah, if you want, you can just do 10 if that's easier for you, but...
I'll just try and see how many I can get,
Yeah.
right? If I don't know anymore, I'll give up. So it's definitely Russia, Canada, United States, China, India,
Whoa.
Brazil.
You're already going places here. So it's Russia?
Yeah. Oh, should I do an order?
That was the idea, yes.
Okay. It's Russia, Canada.
Yes.
I believe it's United States.
No.
Is it? Is it Brazil? Australia? It's Brazil or Australia, I assume, right?
No. It's China.
It's actually China. Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Then it might be United States.
Yes.
And then Brazil, Australia, or the other way around.
It's Brazil, Australia.
Okay. Then we might have India.
Yes.
And then we're already getting into.
It's actually not even dropping off that far, but I think those are the ones that are less intuitive necessarily.
Are we getting into the territory of Argentina? Maybe Norway, Sweden.
What was the last one you said before?
We were at Australia, Brazil. Those two we had.
Brazil and Australia. The next one should be relatively easy, actually.
It should be relatively easy, all right.
And then after that, we're getting into the tougher ones.
Do we have Mongolia?
No, that's okay. That is on the list. So but it's like the third last one.
So I'm missing one bigger one. That's supposed to be relatively easy, but it's not Argentina. It's probably not Mexico.
Well, it's not necessarily the first one that comes to mind when necessarily for area, but it's definitely one that's in the conversation as a whole. Definitely
we had India.
India's right after Australia. Yes, Australia, India.
It's probably not Saudi Arabia, right?
So wait, so you said the last one was Australia. The last one was then India. If we already had it, I asked you.
So India is smaller than Australia.
Yes.
So that was what you're talking about, dude.
Russia,
India.
Canada, China, United States, Brazil, Australia, India.
Okay, so that was the one, right? So then we kind of the next batch would be stuff like Argentina.
That's the next one actually.
Then we might have like Norway and Sweden.
Norway and Sweden aren't on the list at all.
I'm not on the list at all. So I'm being Europe centric again. I apologize. Mongolia should be on the list.
Mongolia is on the list again. I said that before.
Yeah.
I think it's the third last one.
There might be some
on this top 20.
There's probably like Nigeria.
Nigeria. Let's see. I've got this right in front of me. No, I don't see Nigeria. No.
Okay, so no African countries at all. I mean, let's see. Argentina, is Mexico on the list?
Mexico is at 13.
Okay. Then we could have stuff like Ukraine and Belarus.
Let's see. Ukraine,
I'm not sure how big Belarus is, but Ukraine seems reasonable.
Belarus, we have neither one.
I have neither one. Okay.
If you want, I can.
Give me one more thing. What are big countries? Can you give me like hints about the region? Is there more South America?
Jesus Christ, there is South America. Yeah.
Is there like Uruguay?
No.
Wow.
There's one that you might be familiar with due to a certain acquaintance.
Peru.
Yes.
Right, Peru is very large, actually, of course.
Although Peru is like 18 on the top.
Yeah, but Peru is deceptively large because it's close.
Wait, actually, it's 19. I'm sorry, Mongolia was 18
to the equator. Okay, fair. I assume Greenland is not on there, is it?
Greenland is not on there.
Is there more Asian stuff?
Like
there might be some Iraq, Iran stuff on there, Afghanistan, that area. Those are deceptively big, like Pakistan.
None of the ones you mentioned.
I'm thinking of close to equator. Egypt might be on there.
Egypt is in fact not on there.
Not on there. Okay, let's just tell me that.
Okay, it's after Argentina, which was the last one you got from in order. It's Kazakhstan, Algeria, the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Wow.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I think Mexico you mentioned.
Mexico I had. I also mentioned Saudi Arabia at some point. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then I didn't catch it. That happens. Indonesia.
Right.
Sudan. Libya. Actually, Iran is on there.
Iran.
You mentioned Iran. And then it's Mongolia, Peru, and Chad.
There's so many African countries, and here's the mistake I made, right? I said Nigeria, and he said no, and I said then there's no African country, but Nigeria is the most densely populated African place. It might be on the top 20 most popular, but it's not the biggest by land area. So I missed all the African ones, and yeah, Sudan, Algeria, Chad, and his cloud of lies, obviously.
That is a meme and a half.
And yeah, those I missed. And Indonesia, deceptive, very very deceptive. All the islands. So population next, right?
Yes.
I'm trying to do an order. China.
Yes.
India.
Yes.
United States.
Yes.
It's already getting into the Nigeria territory now, but we have probably Indonesia again somewhere there. There's Philippines definitely on there.
So yeah, Philippines is at 13, okay. But China, India, United States, and Indonesia were in the correct order as well.
All right. Is Nigeria the next already?
Nigeria is not the next. It is at, what is that, 7? Yes.
Okay,
7.
I guess Pakistan would be in there.
Pakistan's at 6. At 6.
All right. So
you're still missing 5, I believe.
Just 5?
No, number 5.
Oh, number 5.
China, right. India, United States, Indonesia, blank, Pakistan, Nigeria.
Okay. Is Japan? I mean, it's not Japan, right?
Japan is on the list, but it's not there.
It's later. It's later.
It's at 11, as a matter of fact.
The Philippines are later, so it's...
Philippines were at 13, yes.
Is Thailand on there? Probably later, too, if at all.
Thailand, I believe, is not on there at all.
Not on there at all.
Never mind. It's number 20.
It's okay, fair enough.
It's tough to skim through a list of 20 that fast. But yeah, it's number 20.
Is it Brazil?
Yes, it's Brazil.
Right, it's so large, right? It's so large, there's a lot of people there. So then
it's really large and it's relatively densely populated, I believe.
So I already mentioned Nigeria.
Nigeria, yeah, exactly. It was the top 7 in order are China, India, United States, Indonesia, Brazil, Pakistan, Nigeria. Right. Those are the ones you already had.
Is Chad on there again?
Chad is not on there at all.
Old buddy. All right, so that's just land area then. Mexico?
Mexico is at number 10.
All right. I doubt that Russia is on there, actually.
Russia's at number 9.
Really?
Yes.
Just the population.
144 million.
Oh, boy, right.
Mexico is 132 million.
There's like 20 million in Moscow alone. Okay, if Thailand's at 20, then I'm assuming that Germany's on there.
Yes.
And maybe France.
France is not on there.
Okay, so just Germany.
Germany is at number 19, so
right
above Thailand. Right. Although, I must say, Thailand is significantly lower. It's 69 million for Thailand. It's 82 for Germany.
Oh.
And then for the next ones up, it's 82, 83, 85.
Wow.
So there's a lot of close ones.
Yeah, Canada can't be on there, right?
Canada is not on there.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm not sure if it can be.
But Canada?
They have some area to expand. It's going to be cold, but...
a lot of area. Let's think. It's all Asian countries, man.
I believe out of the top 10, you're only missing number 7.
All right.
And then you have number 11 and 13 as well.
It's maybe like an Arabian country, like Saudi Arabia. Maybe Iraq, Iran again.
Iran is at 18.
Afghanistan
isn't on there at all. Neither are any of the others that you mentioned. If I didn't miss anything,
so
don't see there right now.
About Asia, I mentioned Japan.
You did mention Japan. It was number 11. Yeah. I said that before.
Let me just go through some more. Mongolia, I don't think so.
That is correct. It's not on there.
It's not on there. You'd have like Vietnam and Laos.
Vietnam is on there at number 16, I believe that is.
Vietnam making big moves. I might be missing...
It's actually 15, I'm sorry.
Okay. Am I missing more South Americans?
South America... Now I need to know my geography.
Because it could... the ones that could reasonably be is like... it's like Peru, Argentina... Uruguay, not even Paraguay really, but Ecuador potentially.
None of the
densely populated ones, not. So
should I just give you the remaining? There's still number 17 on there. Number 7 on there that you're missing.
Wow, what?
It is. There's also numbers. I believe numbers 12, 13, I don't think you mentioned 14 either. 16 and 17.
What's the big? I need to figure out this big one, man. It's got to be an Asian country. It has to.
167 million.
It's like
right in between Nigeria and Russia, not geographically speaking, but population.
It's a really small Asian one that's densely populated. Which one of those didn't I mention yet? Oh, it's Bangladesh.
Of course it's Bangladesh.
Yeah, of course. There's so many people that live there. You would never expect.
So you got the entire top 11.
All right, just give me the rest then.
Number 12 is Ethiopia. Number 13 is Philippines. Number 14 is Egypt.
Egypt.
Turkey. Vietnam, you had Congo and Turkey.
Turkey is the one that I should have gotten. Ethiopia, no way to come up with that for me. I wouldn't have expected that. Nigeria, I knew. That's the most densely populated.
Again, the top 10, you knew all of them. You knew number 11. Ethiopia, Philippines, Egypt, Congo, and Turkey, I believe, were the ones you didn't mention.
Ones I didn't know was Turkey, Congo, Egypt, and Ethiopia, yeah.
I don't think you mentioned Philippines either.
I mentioned the Philippines. Yeah, I said them right in the beginning.
Okay.
I did mention the Philippines.
Oh, right, yeah. I said it's 13, and then I later, when I listened to them, ignored
I mentioned them right with Indonesia.
Yeah, no, that's correct. I just forgot about that. I do remember calling out as number 13 on the list.
There's a lot of Asians, man, in that area. Bangladesh.
I mean, in general, there's a lot of Asians.
Yeah, it's crazy. Really, really crazy.
That's a fact.
That's, yeah.
Speaking of facts.
Yes, speaking of facts, we have a fact of the week.
Master of transitions.
Exactly. Would you like to start with the fact of the week? And then I'll pick one, or maybe I'll let you pick mine or whatever.
Yes. So, you know how when you need to display something in a visual format, you need a kind of a unified system to that's universally understandable.
Yeah.
You might say you would want to use a universal modeling language, like UML, the universal modeling language.
Yeah.
But then the question becomes, what if you want to explain that universal modeling language to someone? How do you do that?
Smoke signs.
Well, the inventors of UML thought it was a great idea to document UML using UML.
Wow.
I thought it was kind of silly.
A little bit.
So that's my fact of the week. They did that. That's the thing.
That seems
the UML definition is in UML.
That seems weird. That's like having an extra, like an encryptor program to lock up your password, and the password to encrypt it is also the same password.
Yes, kind of.
That's very weird.
So yeah, that's the kind of stuff you learn when you're taking a computer science course in college. That's literally something that came up in the lecture once. They were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, UML was originally UML was documented in UML." It's like,
fair enough.
What?
Fair enough.
So the way I understand it, you have to understand the language to be able to read the documentation of the language, basically, which then defines the purpose.
That's actually very stupid. So, what kind of fact would you like?
Well, maybe a less stupid one, maybe an intelligent fact.
An intelligent one? What's an intelligent fact?
I mean, to be fair, mine was about science, but it was about stupid.
They're all
science stuff.
Not all of them scientific. Some of them are like a little bit interesting.
Like a mind-blowingly interesting one.
Like very mind-blowing, like the most mind-blowing, or the little mind-blowing.
Well, how about a medium mind-blowing?
Medium mind-blowing. All right, let's see. I guess
I like to think that he has like 2 facts on that list, and he just reinterprets my explanation accordingly.
I think there's about like 7 or 8.
Like there's one mind blow fact on there, and depending on how much emphasis I put on it,
I feel like there's
reads it out.
I feel like there's 3 mind blow facts. Now I'm just sorting in them order, and which one is the least and most one.
I will take B then.
Yes. So that maybe. Which one of those? Okay, I'll go with this one, right? So, because it fits the theme of the halftime show, the country of Russia has a larger surface area than Pluto.
Okay.
That's a fact. That means that for a while, Russia had a larger surface area than the planet.
Well,
and that brings up the idea, and very much conspiracy that by 110% that the Americans made Pluto no longer a planet because they wanted to spite Russia. Fact.
Well, so here's the thing about that. I think that it's kind of weird to say that for a while they were larger than a planet, because the reason, like, Pluto never really was a planet. It was considered one.
Yeah, it was by definition.
But the problem is the definition was always clunky, because it was like, you have to fit these criteria or be Pluto, basically. Yes. Because Pluto never had a right to be a planet.
But Pluto was a planet.
It was just a planet because it was an object that we saw in the sky.
Yeah, Pluto.
Like one of the planets, and then later it was like, oh wait, this doesn't...
Still though,
yeah,
Pluto was a planet. And Russia, for the longest time, was larger than a planet.
Pluto doesn't behave like a planet, so it shouldn't be a planet, which is why it's not a planet.
It's not a planet, and Russia is not larger than a planet, but Russia was.
Which brings us right into the next topic, which is pet peeves.
What is... Oh, right, because of your pet peeve, Pluto insistently not being a planet. So,
here's the thing, okay? That kind of leads into that, because...
Yeah, pet peeves is
people...
the topic.
Yeah, we came up with that, because it's actually kind of interesting to, I think, because, like...
What's some of the small things that bug you that really don't bug others as much as...
And I think one of the ones is when people insist on something that is arguably wrong.
Like Pluto being a planet?
Exactly. Like,
who insists on Pluto being a planet? Except for Jerry.
I was about to say Jerry Smith.
And but he's an idiot. And I mean and the Plutonians. Like, who insists on
but the thing where it's like, we've clearly shown that it's not the way it is. Like, people being ignorant of fact in general.
Yeah, I know.
For some reason, the general populace doesn't seem bothered by that.
Because it's usually just like fringe groups. Like, a good example of that is like flat earthers, right?
Yeah, of course. I feel like more people are in it for the joke than anything else.
Yeah, I know. But there's people who still believe in flat earth these days, right? And if you do, by the way...
Well, more these days than ever before, basically.
Middle Ages.
Like, basically, the thing is, people back then were more, that's also one of those things.
Like, before Galileo. Like, when the only source of education was the church. Then obviously believed it, because because the church believed it. So everyone thought that's just
although
what it is.
It's also one of those things where that's also one of those inaccurate representation of history would actually probably also be on my list, because it's like the thing, and I'm not by no means an expert on history, but when they display people as stupid just because they're from a time period where it was less informed and stuff, it's like, that doesn't mean that everyone was an idiot.
Yeah, of course not. Of course, it's a brilliant mind.
And also, oftentimes...
They just weren't educated.
Although, problematically, most of the time it's the other way around. It is the glorification of the past.
Yeah.
Which, I guess, is its own pet, like, inaccurate history, it kind of relates.
People who glorify World War I and II. Not
specifically those, but, you know the whole thing about, like, the Middle Ages and the knights saving the damsels and everything, it's like, none of... That's not how...
Do people glorify that? Do people want to go back to these days? I don't think so.
Because, but the problem is, a lot of people, when they think about like stuff like the Middle Ages, they don't think about the bad hygiene. They don't think about how everything smelled.
How like half of Europe was eradicated by a sick rat.
Yeah, like how... Like, it's the same thing with pirates. Like, the great video by Salmonella. Why would it suck to be a pirate?
Yes.
Like, that kind of stuff, you know?
I don't think anyone has nostalgia of being a pirate again. I think when people do that, they actually are recalling their nice memories from history, right? Like the 70s when music was good.
I'm not talking about nostalgia specifically. I'm talking about when people kind of treat the past with like, kind of like as the highlights, which of course, you can't look at the entirety of the thing, but... And then...
There's cool things in history.
Kind of glossing over the context and like, oh yeah,
sure,
pirates were raiding ships, but... And then even worse, when something is trying to present itself as like a movie or something, that they'll try presenting the past, and they do it in such a fashion that you're led to believe that it's accurate, but it's not at all.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
Fair enough. So you are picky about historical correctness.
Well, yes.
I think for some of these things like pirates, I mean, they're badass, but they're also terrible. And I think most people do understand that. I don't think anyone thinks that pirates were legitimately good people.
Well, yeah, but like the fucking swinging from ship to ship, it's like that never happened.
Yeah, I know.
or
that's Hollywood stuff. Generally.
Yeah, I mean Hollywood stuff brings us.
You might notice that these are all JJ's little.
Yeah,
buggers,
I was about to say, like, you can add to this at any point, but the problem is whenever you bring something up, you hitting the notes.
Yeah, exactly.
No, Hollywood actually doesn't just.
There's a lot of those too.
Doesn't just fuck up history, but also science and technology.
Yeah, Hollywood does a lot. Aliens too. Like the only way we think of aliens as, the way that we envision an alien to roughly look is because of Hollywood.
Yeah, although there is a few different, like, alien species in science fiction are overall somewhat diverse. The problem is most of the intelligent ones look like humans because you gotta put actors in the makeup.
Small gray men from fucking...
Yeah, like X-Files and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, the fucking hackers and then someone else counter-hacking and they're just typing on a keyboard furiously.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Yeah.
That's, of course, hits particularly hard because I know how it really looks.
Yes.
And that makes it even weirder. The more... That's also one of those problems. The more you know, the more you notice that kind of stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And then that, of course, also not to go too much into the same points, but that also kind of leads into stereotyping in movies a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen a post somewhere. It was like, a programmer in movies, like, nerdy white guy, can type code really fast.
Yes.
Never mistypes. Never gets error messages.
Yes.
Code compiles without error on the first try. Yeah. Can code insanely fast if put under pressure. Yeah. I was like, that's just not, like, never Googles anything. Like, in reality, it's like, oh, I've got this problem. Stack Overflow, copy, paste, done. Okay.
Oh, by the way, nerdy white guy is accurate though.
Yeah. But that's...
that is true.
Also, not directly related to the topic, but do you notice how people with electric powers are disproportionately black for some reason?
Electric powers?
Yeah, like Storm from the X-Men, Black Lightning, Static Shock.
How am I supposed to notice that? I don't know that type of stuff.
For some reason, the live-action version of Electro, one of the few white electric
I don't know any of that. How am I supposed to know that? I don't know a single superhero. I don't watch movies.
I thought it was...
How am I supposed to know that?
I always thought it was kind of weird that it seems like disproportionately many black characters have electric powers. I don't even see how that correlates at all.
I don't know. Maybe it's coincidence. Maybe whatever.
It's weird.
I have never noticed it. I don't even watch movies at all, which is also why the Hollywood thing isn't really my thing.
Because when you think of like speedsters, like guys that can run fast, those are all white.
Oh boy,
that's not the real world.
Oh boy, JJ, you need to shut up quick.
Like
you need to stop that. we are getting flamed. So
what about certain superpowers being associated to certain races? I don't get it.
Nah, come on.
No, but stereotyping and accuracy in movies, I think, is...
JJ is not stereotyping all black people to be fast, by the way. I'm just gonna say that because he likes to... He's a lot of times speaks faster than he really catches up with what he's saying.
You know how the fastest guy in the world is black, though. Like, and a lot of the top runners, sprinters are.
I know that. And yes, there's genetic things going on there. Okay,
it's statistically backed. I'm not saying that generally every black person is faster than every white person or anything like that, but it's just a tendency.
Yes, but there's okay.
I believe they also tend to be taller.
I know. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Even though the tallest people, I don't even think so. Because Africans tend to be smaller. I think the tallest people on average are from, which is also an interesting thing we could do at some point as a topic, are the Norse people. I think the tallest average is in the Netherlands.
Maybe they got the best nutrition or something.
Then you also got Iceland. I believe Iceland is very tall. And also rather heavy set. I'm not necessarily sure about that, but yes. There's genetic things going on there, but also a lot of people perceive it, and there is especially a lot of people's perception, a very slim margin going from black people tend to be faster because they genetically are to they're faster because they're used to running from the popo all the time, right? And that's not what we're trying to say here. You feel me?
I didn't even I wouldn't have even thought of that. I don't think I've ever heard
but
that.
That's
either.
like one of the stereotypes, right?
Yes,
which is not true, by the way.
Black people being shot by the police is a stereotype. Yes.
Yeah, they're not every black person's fast because they also always run from the coppers. It's not true. No one's saying that TrashcanTV does not condone racial stereotypes. Okay, just saying that. Back to pet peeves, all right?
I was trying to pay attention if the amount of negations you used was correct, but I'm
whatever.
Because that is also slippery slope.
That's one of your pet peeves, is what that is.
Double negatives?
Yes. I can say I'm not never gonna do that. And you're the only person who will be like, wait, does that mean you will do it? Where everyone else obviously understands what I mean.
Although for the most okay, yes, double negatives to a degree, but for the most part I oftentimes also just do that like because I'm nitpicky like that, not because it bothers me.
You just like to point it out.
Yeah.
But that's also a problem. Why even, right? You know what I meant. So more often than just like shut up, man. And just like stay in context and answer the actual problems instead of raising technicalities. So
sorry. Yeah, you probably got pet peeves too though.
Yeah, that was one.
Yeah. No, but I've been talking for like 50 minutes now about my pet peeves.
And then I know you have like 100 times more of them than me. To me, I don't have, because pet peeves are like small bugging problems, right? To me, it's either it doesn't concern me, I don't care, or this is a huge problem. This is not a pet peeve. This is actually a monumental thing that people don't pay. That's like not getting attention, that people don't care about.
You do tend to extremes a lot.
Yes, exactly. I don't have those small, like we talked about this like maybe last week when for some reason the whole toilet paper debate came up, right?
Yeah.
Like that's something that would never cross my mind to think which one's better. I literally have never cared about that.
It's also interesting though because I think if you did care about it, it would all of a sudden be the most important thing in the world. Like because
no, it's not. Who cares?
Every time no, but every time when you care about a topic, you always make it seem like it's the most important thing ever.
No, it's the other way around. If it's very important, I care about it. Article 13 comes to mind.
Yeah, of course.
More people dying in the United States per year from alcohol consumption than have died over the entire history of the country from domestic gun violence comes to mind. Right? In which way the toilet paper roll goes, that's not an issue. I really couldn't be bothered. And like the subreddit are mildly infuriating?
Yes.
That I just don't understand that subreddit. Like it's small, it's when smaller things happen to people that are a little bit inconvenient, right?
Although mildly infuriating is also a lot of stuff just not aligning well.
Yeah, but
I feel like it's half of the post, and that's kind of.
I think a lot of it's like, oh, I spilled a little bit of water on the sink while washing my hands, like on top of the sink. Who cares? I mean, what? There's a civil war in Syria. Yeah, exactly, right? I've never had. That's why I don't tend to have these pet peeves, right? It's just like I don't care that much about this little small stuff. It doesn't cross my mind. And I feel like a lot of people who do, like they have too much time on their hands, not ever thinking about the important stuff too, to a degree. At least that's what it seems like to me. Like toilet, who gives a shit? Or the only people who really care about the pineapple on pizza debate are those who don't want pineapple on pizza, which makes them worse because they're less liberal about it. Who cares if someone eats pineapple on their pizza? What is that? What impact does it have on you if I eat pineapple on my pizza?
I mostly bring it up because of the memes, honestly.
But there's people who care about that stuff. To everyone out there, why do you though? I don't care if you don't have pineapple on your pizza. And why should you care if I do? That's fundamentally like that's how conservatives think. And usually that stuff doesn't make any sense. Because what's the moral issue? Like what's the actual moral issue?
The life of pineapples.
Yeah, the life of pineapples, right? You put chicken on your pizza. You know chicken is sentient and a pineapple is not?
But who's gonna live in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants.
But what if you don't have pineapples?
You know that sponges aren't sentient?
Well, that one is.
Well, it's a cartoon sponge. It's not real.
I'm messing around, of course.
Also, that pineapple is not real. And I'm never going to eat all the pineapples in the world.
All of them.
Supplementary on pizza. So yeah, stop caring about other people's business.
Do you think that... Because you said that only people without pineapple care about it.
Yeah.
Do you think that the people that care about the toilet paper over under debate are only people that go over?
No, I think a lot. I think you either care about it and you have an opinion, or you don't. I don't know what's more popular. I don't know what people like more. I don't know what side is more extreme, and I don't give a crap. The only reason that I know that people go under is because of cats. Because cat owners go put it under, right? And to me, I have never taken part in that debate. I literally don't know which one is more generally used or preferred, because for me it's always the way I just happen to have it in my hand. So I have no idea.
There's actually an interesting solution to this, and that is to not have a toilet roll holder.
Yes.
Just put them up somewhere.
Put them on, yeah, right. Let's put them down on the floor, but that's also inconvenient.
Yeah, like put up a shelf or something.
Yeah, maybe. Or you could have it have like one of those vertical toilet paper roll holders. So that way it will become more of a left and right debate. I don't think people... I don't even get why people care about this. Like, why do you care if it's over or under? Why do you care, JJ? Why does it matter?
I feel like... And I think it's probably the same for a lot of people, but I think, like, you have, like, the way you're used to it, and then someone brings it up.
Maybe.
And then you're like, huh, I guess I'm on that side. And then it becomes a thing. And then you kind of jokingly bring it up.
Then you just do it for
again.
memes. Okay,
but
yeah. Sure.
I feel like for the most part, people do it for the memes and don't think it's better.
For sure.
I don't think there's that many people that legitimately get upset when the toilet paper isn't
there. But I still
way.
wouldn't even have the time to do it for fun, man, because it's that irrelevant. And I have a lot of time for memes. For that, like, I've never walked in any bathroom and been like, this toilet paper roll is the wrong way. Because there's no wrong way, right? They're both fine.
Oh, that's the next thing. Just start switching people's toilet paper rolls around.
Yeah, I just should, for more diversity. Like depending on, no matter how it is, you turn it the other way. So people get used to that.
Like you just go to the toilet twice with no one going in between and the toilet paper rolls back to where it was.
Yep. No. You leave it. You leave it whatever way you switched it originally. Right? Like, what is that? What is this stuff, man? That's something. That's a debate. Like, same as the pineapple thing.
I feel like those are the, like, typical questions that, like, the internet asks you. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, AMA, ask me anything. It's like, pineapple on pizza, toilet paper over under. It's like,
yeah. Who gives a shit? I know that people...
I jokingly brought that up when we did, like, the two questions to get
you would ask
someone,
person. Yeah. To get to know most about who a person really is.
It's like,
no. What's your opinion in the comments on pineapple and toilet paper?
Oh, but you know what debate is very polarizing?
Which one?
Pizza or hot dogs?
Ooh, boy, I like...
Bring it back to the beginning.
The thing is, again, I've said it before, but I also like both.
Yeah, sure.
They're both perfectly fine. I mean, originally the debate was just for memes, and the thing is, we're still getting comments on that too.
Yeah, I know.
We, to this day, are getting comments every once in a while, like once a month.
It's great.
Someone's on our very first video, Cookie Clicker 1.
Exactly. Like,
talking about pizza or hot dog.
If you care about, browser idle games, check that video out, but beware, the quality there does not reflect the quality of the rest of the series.
No, the quality in that first video is awful.
Second one is okay.
Yeah, but the debate, it still rages on. We did it in the podcast.
Also, I was about to say, oh god, I'm gonna. This could have probably been a fact of the week. I'm not sure if you've mentioned this before, but I'm just gonna behind the scenes fact. The halftime show in this podcast
in general.
Yeah, in general was in the formula of Trash Talk Podcast was specifically invented to insert this debate into the podcast.
Correct.
because we didn't think it was worth a topic.
Correct.
But we wanted to still include it.
And then it stuck. We had WrestleMania predictions.
Yeah.
And then we had, way too early ones for 34.
But yeah, so that is originally how the structure of the podcast came to be.
That's history fact. That's at some point will be on a manuscript in some kind of museum, like what you just said.
Yeah, because
in 50 years.
We at some point, when we decided we were going to make the channel, we thought it would be cool to make a podcast, although we knew that it wasn't going to be the main interest of the viewership.
Just for rambling.
And, I mean, this is also the outlet for everything that doesn't really fit into other content.
Correct.
And so we thought, like, let's each bring a topic to the table, although we've oftentimes bring some topics together later on as well.
Yeah, most of the time, actually. So
but originally the idea was proposed as, let's each come up with a topic,
and then we'll do a halftime show, fact and song of the week.
And then we decided, like, we want to mention some music, we want to mention some fun facts, so we inserted the fact and song. Yep. We recorded the first Cook Clicker before we recorded the first podcast, and the debate came up, so we thought let's slot that in, and we later started calling it the halftime show. I don't think we originally called it that.
Did we not?
I feel like at some point it came up when I had to put something for the notes we were taking. I'm not sure if we...
I'm going to go back to podcast 1 and check on that.
Because we also never labeled it as such in the graphics, so it would have to be spoken. That's true. Yeah. And I'm not sure if we... The thing is, we might have called it that before we ever said it on the podcast as well. Right.
Well, we'll see. I'll look at that again.
So,
TrashcanTV history.
So that's how the
Memoirs.
podcast format came to be.
That's correct. Pizza and hot dogs. And to this day, I still very much like both. And we need to, at some point, try to make the compromise happen with the hot dog sliders as a pizza topping. I feel like that's it's kind of the next step.
I mean, hot dogs on pizza is a thing.
That's a thing.
I know a pizzeria. Oh god, I don't think they're owned by the same people anymore. I think they got a new menu since. But
that's always questionable.
I know a pizzeria where there used to be hot dogs and fries on pizza.
That's what I can get behind, right? Like that's some good stuff.
Like, that used to be my go-to pizza for a while.
If that pizza place still has that, let me have it.
I think they changed ownership, and I think now they're a pizzeria / steakhouse. I'm not entirely.
They got steakhouse too.
I'm not I don't think they've got a similar menu to anything that they used to have. But
we'll seek it out, and if not, we'll make our own hot dogs.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just purchase regular pizza, with cheese on it, just a margarita, and then just put hot dogs on there.
Yeah.
Maybe even sliders. That's some. When was the last time we talked about pet peeves? Like 15 minutes ago?
Yeah, so I think the second topic was pet peeves / stuff.
/ throwback.
Which
we ended up at,
I believe,
hot dogs.
Talking about the format of the podcast kind of perfectly leads us into, not that we've done that in the last 5 minutes, into the song of the week, I suppose.
Song of the week, which is the final chapter. But let us know your song of the week as well. Link in the description. Viewer, music, share.
Yeah.
Playlist.
The viewer music suggestion playlist, link in the description. If you want to know, if you don't know how to operate this, because apparently it's not that simple with the shared playlists. Some people have had problems with it, specifically.
Gotta add it to your own playlists first.
Yeah, specifically you had problems with it, and a friend of ours who tried it. If you want a more in-depth explanation, I did explain it in the beginning of the last podcast, a bit more in-depth. So check that out. And if you still have questions about how to do it, just
ask us.
Discord, comment section, whatever. Exactly. Which brings us not to the plugs, because we're doing the songs first.
Yeah, but join the Discord channel anyway. But what's your song of the week?
My song of the week is "Eye in the Sky" by the Alan Parsons Project.
Eye in the Sky.
Yes.
I've heard of the Alan Parsons Project. Can you put it in the music share?
Yes.
Wonderful. My song of the week is going to be "The Bush Girl" by the Seekers.
Okay.
I didn't want to go "They Might Be Giants" again, even though there's more of that coming up. And that's kind of the band of the hour there, but the Seekers making an appearance, so that's the newest addition to the musical library, and I think it's a pretty good song.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's the Seekers. Yes, your song of the week in the music share.
It would also low-key be interesting to at some point have a playlist with all of our songs of the week.
All of them, yeah.
Because that would be kind of all over the place, but it also overall would probably be pretty decent.
It'd be pretty good music, yeah. That's true. Well, there'll be some duds in there, like you got like Cherry Bomb or some bullcrap in there at some point when you. When your head wasn't on straight at some point.
I think that's almost the interesting part about it, because it's all over the place, and it's very much... At this point, we've been doing this for so long that you can almost kind of...
Yeah, but basically got 200 songs in there.
You can also almost tell, like, the different eras, when it's like, I was clearly listening, like, there's probably a few...
Right.
Within 2 or 3 months, there's probably a few songs from the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack that I have back to... Not directly back to back, but almost. Then there's a phase where I have a lot of Hammerfall songs. Then all of a sudden we both have a bunch of Sabaton songs, you know?
I've always tried to mix it up a little bit with the songs, but definitely be recognizable. I know that we once both had songs by the name of America.
Yes!
That was a good one, and were different songs too. And not even the Razor Light.
Yeah, not even the Razor Light one, which is probably my favorite.
Debatable. Not really. Probably the second best out of the bunch. Simon and Garfunkel all the way. But that's all from us today. Drop a like and join our Discord. Link in the description. Come talk some trash with us if you're interested in doing that. And the community, because we got a pretty cool community there. Bunch of people are really cool hanging out with. Talk some Hearthstone. Talk some random stuff. Drop some memes if you want. You got a circle jerk. So if you're that type of person, you kind of need that outlet. Join the Discord server, man. TrashcanTV Discord in the description. We are done for the day, JJ.
That's it?
That's it.